if you ever have financial security in this world, you've got to do two things, at least. You've got to budget your time, the use of your time, and you've got to budget your money, your expenditures and your receipts, so that you have a definite plan to go by. Now, to begin with, you have 24 hours of time. Let's take up time first. You have 24 hours divided into 3 8-hour periods, 8 hours for sleep, 8 hours for work. Well, you have no control over the 8 hours for sleep. You have to give that over to nature. She demands that. And you don't have always too much control over the 8 hours that you put into work. Even though you're working for yourself, you still don't have too much control. You have to be there. But there are 8 hours that bless your lives, that's yours. You can waste it if you want to. You can play, you can work, and you can enjoy yourself, you can relax, or you can develop by taking courses of instruction, you can read, you can do anything you want to with it. And therein lies the greatest opportunity of the whole 24 hours. It used to be, back in the days when I was doing my research, I worked 16 hours a day, but it was a labor of love that I was engaged in. I reserved 8 hours a day for sleep, and the other 16 I worked. Part of the time I was working in order to make a living, training salesmen and so forth, but mostly in research, getting ready to give this philosophy to the world. And had it not been for the fact that I had at least 8 hours of free time of my own, I never could have done the necessary research. Now, in those 8 hours of spare time, you can practice developing all of those habits that you choose through the law of cosmic habit force. Now, you don't have to follow my plans, but you'll get some mighty good ideas in the lesson on applied faith, in the one on cosmic habit force, and in the one on the mastermind. Work out a plan of your own, and if it's your plan, it'll be better than if I give it to you verbatim and you just follow it. Now, the suggestions for budgeting of time, budgeting of income and expenses. First thing on your list, your monthly or weekly amount of income should be put down. Should have a regular book worked out, a budgeting book. Now, if you have a family or if you don't have a family, life insurance is a must. It's absolutely a must. You just cannot afford to be without it. If you brought children into this world to whom you are responsible for an education, it's up to you to insure yourself so that if you pass out of the picture and you don't earn any longer, they have got enough money to educate themselves with. That's just a must. And if you've married a wife that's dependent entirely upon you, it's up to you to carry enough insurance to give her a down payment on a second husband if you should pass out of the picture. But life insurance is a wonderful thing because it gives you such wonderful protection in case you're taken away from your source of production. And a family man or a man that's in business where his services are a large portion of the assets. There are men like that, in jobs or in business where a key man or key men, if taken away, would be a tremendous loss to the business. And men like that should always carry themselves, be insured for a large sum of money, large enough to fill up the chasm and be left by them if they should be taken out. So life insurance comes up at the top of the list. Then next, a definite percentage for food, clothing, and housing. Now, don't just go out and blow the works. You can go down to the grocery store and you can spend 5 times as much as you actually need if you don't have a system to go by. I do the shopping at our house, believe it or not. Annie Lou doesn't do that. I do it. That way I get what I want. But I learned a great deal about shopping by following the housewives that I found out were good shoppers and asking them questions. And believe you me, they put me on to a lot of things that I didn't know about buying food, about handling food after the buy. And so when I go over to one of those big supermarkets out in California, I always pick out the most likely housewife and I follow along behind her and start asking her questions. You'd be surprised how cooperative they are. They just love to tell you about what you should do and what you shouldn't. Food and clothing, but now we don't have I must say that on this one we don't have a budget to go by. I buy whatever my fancy strikes me. But I just happen to be in a position where a budget on food and clothing is not necessary. But there was a time when it was necessary, and I imagine in the lives of most people it is necessary to have a budget. And then a definite amount to be set aside for investment, even if it's only a small amount. If it's only $1 a week, even 50 cents a week. It's not the amount that you set aside, it's the habit of being resourceful and frugal. It's a wonderful thing to be frugal, not to waste things. And I've always admired anybody that doesn't waste things. I even like my grandfather. He used to go around picking up old nails and strings and pieces of metal, and you'd be surprised at what a collection of things he had. Now, my frugality never ran to that extent. It ran more to Rolls Royces and 600-acre estates. But believe you me, I got around at long last at learning that no matter how much of this philosophy you have, if you don't have a system for saving a part of what goes through your hands, it makes no difference how much goes through, does it? And if you don't have that system, it will go through, all of it. Whatever amount remains after you have taken care of those three items should go into a current checking or spending account for emergencies, recreation, education, etc. You can draw on that. You don't have to follow your budget on that. In other words, that's a petty cash account, you might say. And if you're real frugal, you let it get up to pretty good size. You won't keep it down too low all the time. And it's a nice thing, you know. Isn't it a wonderful thing to know that you have a good nest egg lying in the bank or in your savings account? No matter what happens, you go down there and get the money. You may not need it, and the chances are it'll put you in that frame of mind where you won't have to go down and get it if you've got it. But if you don't have it there, believe you me, you'll have 1,000 needs. And you'll be afraid in connection with all of them, won't you? That's right. I think perhaps the thing that gives me the most courage to speak my piece and to be myself and to demand that my people keep off of my toes is the fact that I no longer have to worry where my money's coming from. I just don't have to worry about that. I have no money worries. In fact, I don't have any worries at all. People try to worry me sometimes, but it's like Confucius say, when rat tries to pull cat's whiskers, rat generally winds up in honorable cat's belly. Now, this system of trapping a little bit of a percentage that goes through your hands. It's not the amount that I'm so interested in as the fact that you're establishing a frugal savings habit. And if your wages or income is so low that you can't cut your expenses anymore, and you can only absolutely take out of the top, off of the top, 1%, 1 cent out of every dollar. Take that 1 cent off and put it away in some place where it's hard for you to get at it. I'm a great believer in having money invested in investment trusts where they represent a great variety of well-known stocks, so that if one goes bad, why, it doesn't affect your investment at all. There are a lot of those investment trusts. Some of them are good and some of them not so good, perhaps. But if you go to invest in an investment trust, you ought to go to your banker or somebody that is acquainted. Don't try to do that on your own judgment. Individuals, as a rule, are just not qualified for doing that. But get some of your money to working for you, and you'll be surprised at what a nice game it is when you know that you're setting aside a certain amount every month or every week, and that amount is beginning to work for you. This business of trapping the money, by that I mean getting it in a place where you can't reach down in your pocket and get it. When I go to the bank, every so often to get money, pocket money. And I always take a $20 bill, no matter what amount I get, I take a $20 bill and wrap it up and put it in a little special pocket in my wallet, just in case I happen to run out of money. I'll always have $20. And believe you, the other day I needed it too. Came in very handy. Otherwise I'd have had to cash a check with somebody who didn't know me too well, and I wouldn't have liked to ask to have that done. Saving money, you know, is a very difficult thing for most people because they don't have any system to go by.